It was a switch of dates. He was supposed to go with another girl and I was supposed to go with another guy. I just decided. I went with him to the show and she went with the one I was supposed to go to. I was the lucky one because we stayed together. And TV kept flickering off and on, and I thought, what the heck? And I looked over and flicked on and off again because he had the clicker. I turned around and I said, what are you doing? And he says, I don't know. And I looked at him and I said, George, I said, your face. And the side of his face was all down. I said, oh my God, what is the matter? And he says, I don't know, Pat. He says, I can't move my arm. When I got him down to the hospital, they seen him and took him right in, and he said, my goodness, he's having a stroke. I didn't even know what a stroke was. I would sleep all night beside him and he would moan and cry, and I would hold him and try to quiet him down. Yeah, I used to sing in his ear because I felt that music seemed to calm him down, and he would fall back to sleep again, and I would sit in the chair and wait till the morning time to make sure he was okay. We're together 24/7. I go nowhere without him. I'm not a caregiver, I'm just there for him. Never thought of myself as being a caregiver, never, ever. I just doing not what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing it because I care. I'm tired. I am tired. I didn't know I was tired, but I am tired. But I still will do it because it has to be done.
Medicine has changed a lot over the last 20 to 30 years. Recently, we really have tried to strengthen the programs that allow patients to be cared for at home by their loved ones and caregivers, but we didn't quite get the aspect of caring for the caregivers at the same time.
It's just all-consuming for the family caregiver, or can be. They give up all their needs to take care of someone else. Be aware that family caregivers do a lot and don't always have it easy, and we really need to be doing more to help them out.
A lot of the caregivers can experience isolation. They don't feel comfortable asking for help because they think it's just their duty. They have a much higher rate of burnout than just the general population and don't always seek that help because the appointments are dominated by the person with the health care issues.
I think the healthcare provider first needs to develop an awareness that there are family caregivers out there, that they are playing a role. Caregivers aren't always forthcoming with their situation. They're kind of hesitant to identify themselves as being caregivers. Identification is key, and I don't think we're always good at doing that.
Nobody knew. I never told anybody. Even my kids didn't know that. But you can't tell your kids things because they got their lives too, and this was my life, and I figured I was strong enough that I could do it. But I found out after these years that I really wasn't all that strong. I really wasn't. I cried a lot at nighttime. I tossed and turned. I was up all the time. I was on the verge of it. I didn't know I was. I didn't know I was depressed. Nobody ever asked me how I was. They'd always say, how is George? I'd say, fine. Hi, But nobody ever asked me, how are you?
I think healthcare practitioners have asked this question before, how are you? But not in a way that invited a true response. I think a hesitation of a lot of us was what comes with that answer. I was nervous to start asking this question more in depth to caregivers because I really thought things might get out of control. Then all of a sudden in this appointment, it's going to go on for 40 minutes. I'm not sure I'm going to manage my day, but that has not happened. It hasn't happened at all. That just hearing the caregiver's story can relieve a lot of their stress and burden.
You've got to let it out. because it hurts so much inside. I feel lighter, I feel freer because I have help now. And somebody's always doing something for us, not because they have to, because they want to. And I have a friend that comes over to see George, and the first thing is I get a hug and "How are you, Pat?" I said, "I'm fine, thank you." And that makes me feel better that somebody is caring how I feel. And I think that's a big thing, is somebody is caring how I feel. So that's what keeps me going.
Without moving in the direction of supporting the caregivers, our healthcare system's going to be in trouble. And without their support, those patients would be in long-term care, which is already overcrowded. It's also a necessary factor to keep things running and to keep the ER lines down and to keep access to hospital beds. So.
The Time to Talk has been really, really good because there's other people out there that are hurting inside like I was. And I think my kids are proud that I've got up and finally told what was inside of me.
I always thought I did a good job of it, but having gone through this, I realized that I could do better. I've also, through Connected Dots, become far more familiar with many of the resources in the community that are available.
I think for me, it's made my practice much more rewarding. I definitely think it's opened the door for my caregiver patients to approach me and to seek help. So someone has to start the conversation, and it can be me as the physician. Now that I feel more comfortable with the tools that I've gotten from the Time to Talk Toolkit, I truly now pause and think of the stories I've heard, and is this patient's caregiver going through some of those situations?